What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Diamond Chat. Tonight we got one of my really good friends and former teammates from Manhattan College, Justin Solimine. So what's up, man? It's good to see you again.
What's going on, guys? It's a pleasure to be
Hey,
on here. Thanks for having me.
appreciate you coming on. It's huge.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Of course. Yeah, so before we kind of like get into some of the questions, why don't you just take a minute and just tell everyone, a little bit about your playing career so far and just like about Stetson as well. So
Sure. Yeah. I started off at Manhattan College with Pat and pitched pitched two full seasons there. Dealt with a little bit of injuries. One being Tommy John, couple nagging hamstrings. Kind of kept me off the field for a little bit. Was able to put together a good senior season or a good enough senior season to grad transfer down to Stetson University, where haven't looked back, and it's been a great opportunity, and really excited about this spring coming up.
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, especially like last year too, like it was really great to see like coming back from the injury you had and you're putting
Yeah,
up some really good velocity. Like your pitches were really great, and it was good to
yeah.
see. Like just have a nice bounce back season. Because no one deserved it more than you, and like you worked really hard.
I appreciate
So that was
Thanks,
great.
dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was
Or-
successful.
Yeah. So kind of starting off now. When we start with this, so like to like in order to pitch at like a high velocity and like just have like good command of all your pitches, like kind of talk to us about like your mechanics a little bit and like how they kind of like evolved just to make like obviously like increase your velocity, and then like just two
Yeah,
to have like better break on your all speed pitches and just have good command in general.
sure. I kind of have like two sides to my answer with this. One being I don't actually love looking at my mechanics too in depth. And I know Pat, you love looking at your mechanics, and
Yeah,
it's all
I'm not
great.
gonna lie.
It's always great to look back and address some flaws that you're having or some inefficiencies in your movements. But I think you can get really caught up in it, and you lose the aspect of just throwing a baseball and trusting your body and being in what I like to call like a flow state. Um, and that's really helped me since being down here. Kind of, trusting that my body's getting into the right positions, and I've worked all this drill work, med ball work, whatever it is, that it all kind of blended in the right way, and it gets me in those positions so that when I'm in that quote unquote flow state on the mound, when I'm in a game, I don't really think too much about, is my arm getting in the right spot? Is it flipping up on time? Are my hips firing at the right time? And it's more just, trusting that I've, I've built that up already. But the other side of that would be a big, mechanical adjustment that I've made since being down here is kind of like working with like my tilt and working putting my upper half in a different position than it was in last year. And that it kind of allowed me to, I wouldn't say throw harder. My velocity has definitely ticked up a little bit since being down here, but I would say it's allowed me to be in the zone a lot more. I'm not putting as much quote unquote effort behind the baseball. And, um, that's kind of helped me out. Had some success already this spring and had a successful fall with that for sure.
That's awesome. That's like
Yeah.
huge too, because especially like in terms of like just preserving like your arm health, like just trying to throw the ball like as effortlessly as possible and just like
Yeah.
using like gravity and like momentum and just like everything you can like besides like just putting just like pure just like strength behind it just helps you like sustain velocity throughout a game and just saves
Yep.
a lot of miles in the arm as well. So that's huge.
Absolutely.
Good stuff.
I think another side to that has also just helped me, like my bounce back time, honestly, because I felt like last year I was trying to do as much as I can to get as much output in my delivery.
Mhm.
And I felt like it was taking me that full 6 days in season to get back to a spot where I was like, okay, I could pitch again. Where, as just for an example, this past weekend, I think on Saturday, had a really good recovery day Sunday. And today arm scores were good enough to potentially like throw in a live situation again today.
Yeah,
Um,
that's huge.
so it's just allowed me to stay healthy and allow me to keep pushing.
Yeah,
No, that's
that's great.
that's good stuff right there. I almost feel the same way as a hitter. Like not focused on mechanics too much. Obviously, yes, there's times where we want to, but I think that just helps you compete as well. But what I really liked what you said there was flow state. I think that kind of leads into the next question here about, do you have any like specific pregame or in-game routines that help you stay locked in mentally? And kind of what do you do to avoid distractions or outside kind of pressures? I know flow
Yeah.
state kind of plays into that a little bit, so that's I kind of want it based off.
Yeah. Pregame, pregame, not as much. I feel like I've developed a good routine since being in college for, as a grad student now, being around guys, being able to pick and choose some things and develop a good routine. So I've put together that, and there's not too much that I'll do besides that routine. But to add on to that, in when I'm in game, a big thing that I think about is I'll go out to the mound, obviously trust my process, and whatever the outcomes are, there once the ball releases, like you have no say or what happens, right? So, I get off the mound and in between innings, kind of sit there and address what happened that inning, whether there's positives or negatives. Look at the negatives first and always end on positives for me, for sure. Um, and then kind of just develop a short little game plan on how I can make like little, either if it's a mental adjustment or a physical adjustment, um, on how I can go back out there and make a change there. But for me, I'm Pat. You saw it firsthand last year. I'm not a big locking guy. Like you could talk to me before, you could talk to me when I'm pitching. I like to keep that relaxed atmosphere around me. I feel like um, me being too locked in or like creating like tension around me just does harm for me.
Yeah, I was just
At
gonna
the
ask that if that kind of created any tension if you were too locked in. Because I know for me as a player, like if I was too locked, I get like all, stressed out and
Yeah.
tense.
Yeah, absolutely. I think like for me, putting myself in that environment, I always go back to that this is just a game. Obviously, you're playing it at a high level and you're playing for more than just yourself. You're playing for a team, you're playing for a community, you're playing for a university. Um, but at the end of the day, it is just a game. And I think I've developed that later in my career where, every pitch you throw isn't a make or break. Every bad outing isn't going to break your career. Every great outing isn't going to make your career. So I've kind of developed that philosophy that has created or developed my like mindset to just be super relaxed and what happens and I've had some success with it, so I'm going to keep rolling with it.
Yeah, that's huge because you hear a lot of people like nowadays, like especially like coaches and stuff, and everyone like says like lock in, and like obviously it's so important to like be focused on everything going on, but just like the whole process of like locking in, like it could just like it just psychs yourself out mentally, and it just like Dylan said, just gives you added pressure that like it's just not needed. Like just at the end of the day, it's just a game to just go out there, relax, and just enjoy every moment. There's no need to
100%.
because you're gonna be focused anyway, so there's no need to put that added pressure like you were saying.
Yeah, and you kind of just hit it on the head there with and, like being present in the moment is huge. And
Yeah,
I was just on the phone with one of my good friends, and we were like, "Holy shit! It's been you know the season starts in 18 days, and it feels like I haven't even been down here, and it's like boom, like a blink of the eye. I've been down here for over half a semester now." Um, so just being present and not thinking too much. And I think that's just like really helped me just embrace the journey too.
for sure. Yeah, I love that. So, kind of like going into the different aspect of the game in terms of like your weight training and just stuff like that. How have you like do you like develop your weight training like in terms of like are you going like super heavy with your lifts or are you a little lighter? Are you doing more explosive workouts? How's that kind of been going on for you?
Yeah. So in the fall, it was definitely very strength biased and trying to put on as much strength as possible. And that's kind of transitioned a little bit now. I'm definitely a huge pro weightlifter. pro, like meaning like not meaning I'm for it. Yeah. Um, that came off not the right way. um, but I'm definitely for it. Um, but this spring it's kind of transitioned into it kind of sets up like two heavier days and then two hybrid days. And then we do something called a lactate push after we throw, which I think has helped me out tremendously, with just getting the arm feeling really good, getting the body feeling really good. Um,
What's that kind
but
of
yeah,
look
I
like?
guess
That lactate, like what does that kind of look like for you guys?
yeah. So a lot of the staff has the whoop. You have the whoop as well. So
Yep.
you understand like heart rate zones, and so basically what you do is you push your body and you get up to like pretty close to a max heart rate, whatever it takes to get to that max heart rate. And then you cool down and you try to stay in zone two for 5 minutes, and you repeat that cycle 5 or 6 times. And um, it's kind of like the old pitching coach saying like go run your poles, right? But this actually has some scientific data backed behind it with like your heart rates here instead of running poles and you're just staying at a constant heart rate. Um, and that's kind of just flushed my body, makes me feel really good the next day. You don't really have that extra built up soreness that you get. You're not really stiff as the next day as much. Um, and again, that all kind of comes back to keeping guys on the field, staying healthy, staying as, loose as possible. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never really like thought about that too much, and I mean, it definitely could help, especially with recovery and just getting because like just getting like blood flow is the most important part, like just to like regenerate like the cells, like get the muscle tissue like back to 100%.
yeah, 100%.
That's awesome.
All right, so when you mentioned being kind of loose and flowing, getting the blood flowing, I guess this could lead into the next one in a way, but how much of an emphasis do you put on mobility, flexibility, in your shoulders, hips, ankles, kind of anywhere that's going to benefit you on the mound? Like, is that a big part of your routine, strength program in a way, just the whole mobility
Yeah.
side?
Kind of goes back to routines for me. Big routine guy. And I've kind of incorporated some stuff into just like my daily pre-throw routine that kind of covers, my mobility, like some range of motion type stuff. Since being down here, we use Arm Care Plus. Pat, you're familiar with that. Dylan, I don't know. Do you guys use Arm Care Plus at Louisville?
No, we use oh, now you're putting me on the spot. The pictures use something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Well,
feel like you
anyway,
guys know it being
um,
two pictures. It's kind of popular. But anyways,
yeah.
keep going. I'll
So
think of it. I'll think of it.
yeah, no worries. So yeah, we started. I was just introduced to Arm Care Plus since being down here, and tests your range of motions. It tests your strength in ER and IR, and then kind of develops a program for your deficiencies in whatever it is that you're testing for. And our trainer here is great. She writes us out programs to get us stronger in those areas, and I just think that from like the routines that I have, plus the Arm Care Plus stuff, and the strength and conditioning side of stuff, it's just really helped me put me in a really good spot. And yeah, super grateful for it.
Yeah, that's great. I know the arm care app, they're gonna come on the show with us in a couple weeks, but just even
Oh,
like
really?
yeah, they'll be on soon. But it's
That's
kind of just
good.
cool, like just even using the technology here at school because it just tells you like where like you're strong and like if the front side of your shoulder is strong, if strong in the back,
Yeah.
if it's like equal, and it just your arm just feels like healthy in general. Like you can get like some velocity like upticks from it, I feel, but
Yeah.
like generally like like you don't have like the nags or like any
Yeah.
like as much pain as prior like to
I
using
think
just keeps it healthy.
I love looking at it for like the post throw aspect of things, just because we test prior to our like high intent days or like our mound days. Um, but then after, you could see like how much range of motion you lost or like how much weaker you are in ER and IR. And that just to me is really important, just so that you know, like, okay, the next 2 or 3 days I really need to hammer this stuff and kind of get you back to like that position where you were prior to the high intent day. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say like an overall consensus of like how much I emphasize on it. Um, I would say it's a lot, especially just because our coach just introduced us to doing yoga, and um, I don't know if you can curse on here, but whoop their ass. Yoga is legit, and
Yeah.
definitely we'll be doing a couple more sessions throughout the week so that when we do it as a team for that one time, I don't my shoulders aren't shaking while doing it. So um, it's cool though, and we do a lot of cool and fun stuff down here to just introduce our bodies to new things and just adapt at the end of the day.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Hey, do you guys
Yep.
know Armored Heat? It was called Armored Heat. That's what
Yeah,
it.
Armored Heat's great as well.
Oh,
I
okay.
think they're like the bougie version of Arm Care Plus.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, all good stuff. And you kind of touched upon it a bit before, like obviously on top of the arm care app, like with doing the heart rate zone runs. What are
Yeah,
some of the other stuff that you do kind of just to promote some recovery and just get your body like at peak form for the next time you're going to be out on the mound?
yeah. So again, Kelsey, our strength or our trainer here, kind of put together a very generic post throw that we run through every single day. It's 5 to 10 minutes, depending on if you're scrolling on Instagram Reels or TikTok throughout it. But that kind of just promotes some, range of motion type stuff, burns out the shoulder a little bit. And so we'll do that directly after throwing. And that's every throw day. Like you do that if you go out there and you throw 45 feet, you're still doing your post throw. Um, Big Normatec fan. Love doing the Normatec boots. Just keeping the legs fresh. You both of you guys from the hitting aspect and pitching aspect know how important it is to have fresh legs on the field. So that's really helped me, stay out there and feel fresh. And then I've been introduced to dry needling since being down here, and
You, my man. I
uh,
can't.
I'm a big fan of it. To be honest with you, I wasn't at first because I went into the training room one day and was advised to do dry needling, and then the next day I woke up 5 times more sore than I was prior. And I guess that's just all part of the process of your body getting used to the needles. But um, you know, the trainer and I have a relationship here now where we're on a really good routine, and we'll do needling 1 to 2 times a week, depending on like how the flexor in the forearm is building up. But yeah, I think recovery is super important. Emphasizing your sleep too, how much sleep you're getting, and the quality of sleep, not just how many hours you're getting. Like actually, I love the Whoop app, so I look into
Yeah,
my
let's go.
sleep and
Let's go.
Yeah.
make sure that I'm getting not just like the amount of hours, but like good quality sleep to make sure the body's getting restored overnight.
Hey, let's get a little whoop group going. Pat always texts me every morning if I don't have good recovery. Hey, Dill, what are you doing?
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, dude. I had a bad week. I had an average of 47%. I think the body's getting a little sick, but
Yeah, that's how it is. Pat had like 1% 2 days in a row. I'm like, Pat, come
Yeah,
on.
that was this week was a little
yeah,
tough, but we're up, back on the come up though now. We'll be good
we'll
soon.
bounce back.
Yeah,
We'll bounce back.
good. Yeah, honestly, like sleep is like such like a huge thing, and like I feel
It
a lot
is.
of people like they can like everyone can say like they get a certain amount of hours, but like one like huge thing the Whoop kind of points out is like your awake time because like naturally like everyone like when you're like going through the cycles of sleep like you're awake for like a couple minutes and like it all adds up eventually. So like in order to like really get a full like 8 hours of sleep a night, like you really need to be in bed for like 8 hours, like 40 minutes, like even close to like 9 hours, just to get like the full amount of time that you need, and like getting
100%.
proper restorative too. Like that's
I think,
sort of sleep is.
yeah, I think that even add on to the point of recovery is the diet and how important like what you're putting into your body with just hydration, electrolytes. Um, if you're eating processed foods day in, day out, like it takes your body a lot longer to process those, processed fast foods than like eating, a clean diet. And I think that all comes back to like, okay, like this guy's a little bit more sore, but does he eat Taco Bell and, fast food after the game? And he's just holding on to so much more um, crap in his body. I don't know the scientific terms, but
Yeah.
uh, you know, I emphasize I'm really rigorous about like what I put in my body, if it's clean, animal based type stuff, and I think that's also helped me a lot since being down
Yeah.
here.
That's very smart out of you. Come on, you got to sink a few sweet treats every now and again, right? What's your go-to? A little ice cream, maybe?
You know, it's funny. I'm really, really good about not doing it, but I actually just had a sweet treat before getting on here.
Yeah.
We got
Let's
this place. We, we have this place, Wits Custard, and it's basically a glorified mom and pop Dairy Queen, and it's tough to stay away from. But
Yeah.
Oh,
for the most, I try my hardest just because I get like a little mini thing, and it's like 1,200 calories and puts me out.
Hey, we'll take that
But
though. That's good stuff. That's good
yeah.
stuff.
yeah,
Actually, before we
definitely an
kind
ice
of
cream guy.
yeah. Now, before we get to the last question, like somebody kind of just thought about like, especially like me and you, we both spent time in Manhattan, and then like now like you're down in Florida. Like, what's kind of the transition like? Like especially going to Manhattan and like it's more of a city school, like northern like environment, and then now being in Florida. I mean, we took a couple trips down there, like the Stetson,
Yeah.
and just the environment and like it's warmer there. Like, what's the transition kind of like, and like how has it kind of affected your playing?
Yeah. Well, it was pretty seamless coming down here. We have a really, really good group of guys down here that emphasize culture. And um, we didn't have a locker room at
Manhattan.
Manhattan. And I can't speak enough about how much a locker room brings a group of guys together. Both of you guys can understand that.
Yeah.
And that really just allowed me to not walk around campus for 3 weeks maybe knowing that guy, is that guy on the baseball team, is he not, like from day one we were in a locker room and bonding over whatever it is, locker room talk. So that really helped the transition down here. It's definitely a big difference going from a city school to DeLand, Florida. There's not much going on the daily basis down here, but it's kind of something that I wanted. I really wanted to put 100% into my last year here to potentially have an opportunity to continue playing. So like I think not having the distractions of a city school is huge for me. So a lot of like my time and effort goes into how is it going to impact my career. Um, so yeah, I think it was a great decision coming down here. It's definitely put me in a lot better positions than I was in last year going into a season. So, really excited about it.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, the facilities there, like when we went, especially when they made the upgrade back in I think it was the 2023 season. Yeah, it's just like a
Yeah,
great place to play, and like anyone would like love to
absolutely.
play in a ballpark like that, and just have fans come out and like it's such a great alumni base too of like people who've been there and guys who are in the major leagues now. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean it's very cool. Going to the baseball field, we were there yesterday. We had a scrimmage and we wrap it up, bring it up, put in the field to bed, and Jacob DeGrom walks in.
No way.
And
Awesome.
yeah, it's just it's a surreal moment. But that's
You
a
had to get
guy
a
that
picture
has,
with him, right?
what was that?
You got a picture with him?
No, he's not that guy. He's
Okay.
not that
Okay.
guy.
Fair.
He's a great guy, but he's been coming around. He'll pop his head in. He's been doing like all his bullpen work, leading up into big league camp. So he's been coming around a little bit, but it's really cool though. It's a place that he played at X amount of years ago that he still comes back to because he has like valuable memories there, and um, knows it's a spot that he can continue to grow at. So it's really cool, and it's inspiring to a lot of us. Like seeing that guy come around and one of the best pitchers, potentially the best pitcher ever. Um, to watch him throw and take some tips on him. So it's really cool.
That's great.
All right. So for our last question, It's probably my favorite one. You can give me two since you're a grad guy. You know, the older guys we have a little more experience and memories than younger ones do. But if you can name one of your favorite memories, whether it's during the season, out of season, with the guys, without the guys, just something that you're always going to look back on and say, "Damn, like that's special." You know what I mean? You can give me two if you want to, because I'm sure there might be a couple.
Hmm. Um,
No, it's tough. I'm putting you on the spot, but
I know you're putting me on the spot. Man, it's a lot of baseball. Um, my head, I'm just gonna go with where my head went initially. My favorite time of ever playing baseball was 2021 Danbury Westerners.
Ooh.
I
Wait, I
that
played.
year, what was that?
I must have played you. Anyways, keep going. Sorry, Talk
I
after.
think you I think you did. I think you did. But that year you you understand, you guys both understand summer ball. It could be a year where like it's a group of guys that bond and want to win a bunch of baseball games, or it's a group of selfish individuals who only care about their stats and want to get the hell out of there.
Hmm.
And I remember we started off that season maybe like 2-10, and we just snuck into the playoffs and we won our first game. And I remember getting back on that bus and all the guys like grouped up together and we're like, we're gonna win this thing. Like we're here. We got potentially 2 weeks left here. Like there's gonna be no difference of us going home tomorrow or in 2 weeks, right? Summer's already coming to an end, going back to school. And I remember just those trips and those playoffs were some of the most fun I've had on a baseball field with those groups of guys, and especially going back to that roster and watching. I think 8 or 9 of them, go on to play affiliated baseball. Um,
Yeah.
is a really surreal thing to look back on, and obviously, to narrow down the best moment would obviously be winning that NECBL championship, just because it was a I haven't really won like a conference championship in college. So that was pretty cool. And then obviously the bus ride home was a great time as well.
No, that's special. Nothing better than that. Hey, do you remember? I'm sure you do. Justin Cat from Marist.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah. Cap,
great dude.
Cap's a
Great
great
dude.
guy.
Oh man.
Cap's a great guy. I ran into him. I was with him last year when we
Oh,
went over to Maryland. Yeah.
oh yeah,
I
yeah.
was surprised he was even still there.
Yeah. He was taking his fifth year there. Yep. He even had a sixth year, dude. There's a bunch of kids in my class who had him.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
yeah. He just ended up taking it. Crazy, bro.
Cool.
Yeah, all good stuff. So we appreciate you coming on tonight, man. It was a
Yeah,
great pleasure,
absolutely.
like being your teammate over at Manhattan. Like definitely taught me plenty of things and just like a good resource in general, just to like help me get better and just a ton of positivity to pick me up, and had a couple things like just kind of not go wrong, but like just where I just needed like a bit of support, So great teammate and great player, So we appreciate you coming on and just offering the advice to everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you guys
Appreciate
having
you,
me on. It's
Justin.
Of course.
Thank
fun.
you.
So, all right, man. Thanks so much, and best of luck to you and your team this upcoming year.
Absolutely. Yeah, good luck to you guys as well. Again, I appreciate you guys having me on.